Honourable members, there will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Please be seated. Honourable members, I've been informed that the Whippery have agreed that there will be no notices of motions or motions without notices. Therefore, I will proceed with what we have on the order papers, that is to allow parties to present their oration of condolences on the passing of the former Chief Whip of the National Council of Provinces, Honourable Nosipho Dorothy Ntwanambi. I would therefore take the opportunity to call on Honourable Dikhale of the African National Congress.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honourable Chairperson of the NCOP, honourable members of Parliament, relatives, friends of the Ntwanambi family, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed with great sadness and sorrow that I have to stand before you in this august house to pay tribute to the late Honourable Nosipho Ntwanambi. Honourable Ntwanambi was the Chief Whip of this House, and dare I say, the first woman Chief Whip of this House. As a woman of the African National Congress, we were very proud of her for having attained that position. So when we called her Chief, it was with a great sense of pride and appreciation that one of us women could be entrusted with such a responsibility. And what a great job she did in this role. Now the Chief is no more. In my language, when something like this happens, we say, Mohapa o mogolo, uile. Omiditara, ditlo shaladilla wishosho. Literally translated, this means the great tree has fallen and the birds will be left crying with no shelter. For us, who were new in the 4th Parliament, who were like these birds, and Honourable Ntwanambi was like a shelter to us. She was a guide and she would never allow anyone to take advantage of our being new and thus not knowing how to do some of the things here at Parliament. She was indeed a mother to us and we will forever be grateful for that. Honourable Ntwanambi was a very special woman, and this is attested to more than anything else by her name. Her name, Nosipho, means mother of a gift, or you can pronounce it Unosipho, which means she has a gift. It could also be pronounced in the form of taken to one directly, Unosipho, meaning you have got a gift. So in whatever way or fashion you say it, her name has gift written all over it. As a mother of a gift, she gave the children of Siyazingiza Primary School, where she taught from 1983 until 1997, an important gift in the form of education. We all know that education plays a fundamental role in the life of a person, of a nation, of a country, and of the world. And I have no doubt in my mind that many children from Siyazingiza Primary School are today somebody because of this gift, education, that they got from the Honourable Ntwanambi. Indeed, she had a gift, and her uppermost gift was being a hard worker at everything that she was doing. In politics, this hard work saw rise from the dusty streets of Guguletu Township to serving in various leadership structures of the political formation that pioneered the demise of the apartheid regime in 1994 and joining the most powerful woman in the corridor of Parliament. The movement of people, the African National Congress, recognized her hard work, hence it elected her into its National Executive Committee as well as the Deputy President of its Women's League. Her second or English name is Dorothy, which also means gift of God. So there's no doubt that Honourable Ntwanambi was indeed a gift to all of us, especially for the ANC Women's League and the movement at large. That is why, despite her not being well, she was still deployed to the National Assembly in this 5th Parliament to continue making a contribution towards attainment of better life of all of our people. That is selflessness personified. A gift that was Honourable Ntwanambi shows just how important a name can be and what effect it can have. It is not coincidental that there is an English idiom that goes, give a dog a bad name and hang him, with the Sesotho version being, "Vitso lebe ke seromo," which loosely translates to it, you give a child a bad name, you are cursing that child. Certainly, Honourable Ntwanambi's parents knew that they were getting a gift when she was born. And certainly, they are happy with what she has done with her life, just like we in the ANC are with what she has done for this glorious movement. So, as the gift is taken away from us, we can only accept with the knowledge that God had given and now He has taken. We also know that Honourable Ntwanambi has bowed out of his life on earth to join the eternal life in heaven. There, she will be welcomed by other stalwarts of the ANC, such as Mam Dorothy Nyembe, her namesake, Mam Lilian Ngoyi, Mam Charlotte Mateke, Mam Frances Bart, Mam Adelaide Tambo, Mam Albertina Sisulu, and many more. There are women that we say in Sepedi, Baswaratipa Kabagale. These women leaders of our movement has now passed the baton to us to continue with the struggle. Theirs was in the main the political struggle, and they have won it because today we have political freedom. So we must also win our struggle, which is in the main socio-economic struggle. We cannot afford to let them down, because if we did, we will not be worth being associated with them. I therefore call on all of us who are left behind to commit to continue with the struggle until the better life for all of our people is achieved. Mam Ntwanambi has played her role, and it is left to us play ours. Are we up for it? That's the question I'll leave with you. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable Members, I'm informed that the family of Ntwanambi is with us in the gallery. You are welcome to be in this house. May I therefore call on Honourable Van Lingen to continue with the orations.
Chairperson, I don't need this cassie to stand on.
You can just push it in.
That's better. Thank you, Chairperson. It is with deep sadness that we learnt of the passing of Nosipho Dorothy Ntwanambi, the former Chief Whip of the National Council of Provinces. She served as NCOP Chief Whip from 2009 for the entire 4th Parliament. As member of the Western Cape delegation to the NCOP for the same period, she always had the people of the province at heart. The late Chief Whip, or as my colleague said, we often referred to and fondly referred to her as Chief, she represented various select committees such as economic development, foreign affairs, labour, public enterprises, finance, joint budget, land and environmental affairs, which included agriculture, forestry, fisheries, rural development, land reform, water and environmental affairs. So you can see that she has done the whole spectrum. And that's just the way she was made. She did nothing half measure. Mrs. Ntwanambi was also the chairperson of the Parliamentary Women's Caucus from 2005 to the very end. The late Honourable Ntwanambi served the ANC, the Western Cape and her people with dedication and extreme compassion. That compassion she also showed in my short time here in Parliament to various members who had family or sons or husbands who passed away, and she had gone to the extreme to do something special for them to understand that she really cared. We offer our sincere condolences to her children, her family, her friends, staff members of the NCOP, especially those who served in her office, and those also who served with her in the NCOP. She was a proud South African. Lala ngokolo mama ulilwile idabi labafazi namakosikazi de ichoba la ubete.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. May I call on Honourable Kaula from the Inkatha Freedom Party?
Ngiyalithokoza lithuba ongipha lona, Deputy Chairperson, colleagues. On behalf of the Inkatha Freedom Party, I would like to express our deepest condolences to the Ntwanambi family, the relatives and friends. We also would like to express and offer our condolences to the ANC leadership, especially the Women's League leadership, where the late Honourable Dorothy Ntwanambi was a leader as Deputy President. Whilst I have not served with her, but I have been informed that she was a firm and fair chief whip of this house. I'm informed that she looked upon all and served all the members of the house in the same manner. I'm informed that she was a veteran of the struggle, very passionate and a passionate activist for women's rights, and passionate for education, such that she was one of the founding members of SATU. Her loss is a loss to not only to her organization, the ANC, but it's a loss to the whole of South Africa. May her soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Kaula. May I therefore call on the Honourable Chief Whip of the NCOP, Honourable Dr. Matemi.
Chairperson, I hope I'm visible.
Let's pull it out more.
Chairperson of the session, members of this august house, our one and only minister this afternoon in this house, members of the Ntwanambi family in the gallery, ladies and gentlemen, I rise with profound humility and a great sense of grief and sorrow to pay homage to a fallen daughter of our nation and a humble servant of our people who dedicated her life to the African National Congress and served South Africa until the last moment. Chair, where I come from, they say if you want to know whether a person is really deeply in sorrow, this is an occasion I would have loved to express myself in isiXhosa, but having the kind of a history we have, I'm disabled in that regard. Chairperson, in his poem, Song of Myself, one of the prolific writers of the 18th century, Walt Whitman writes, I quote, "Behold, I do not give lectures or little charity. When I give myself," close quote. Chairperson, the sentiments expressed by Walter Whitman profoundly encapsulates the life lived by Honorable Comrade Nosipo Dorothy Ntwanambi, or the Chief Whip, or DP, as she was affectionately known in the ANC, ANC Women's League, Parliament, and legislatures across South Africa until her untimely death on Tuesday, 8 July 2014 at about 17 hours after a long illness. Chairperson, Honourable Ntwanambi truly dedicated her life to saving South Africa. Her death has robbed the people of South Africa, the ANC and the ANC Women's League of a formidable source of inspiration, a mentor, a leader, and a loving mother whose kind-hearted spirit and commitment to serve South Africa and love for the ANC will forever remain a living inspiration. Chairperson, she was born on the 25th of September 1959 at Gugulethu in the Western Cape Province. The eldest daughter of 5. She regards the year of her birth as interesting, and I quote, because it is the very same year that former President Nelson Mandela delivered his most revered speech, the Verwoerd-Grimm plot, fiercely criticizing the apartheid government for legalizing separate settlement for blacks, and the year of the birth of the Pan-Africanist Congress. I close quotes. This was an expression by herself during one of the interviews given. Chairperson, her illustrious political involvement in the struggle against apartheid is a true epitome of a community leader who rose and surmounted the travesties of growing up in a repressive apartheid society that was characterized by deep-rooted racial, cultural, and gender discrimination that faced many of the women of her time. Chair, growing up in a visibly marginalized and poverty-stricken community in Gugulethu, Honourable Ntwanambi had a relentless curiosity about the situation faced by many black people, particularly the women. She formally started a political life when she joined the African National Congress as a student during the 1976 uprisings that saw millions of students across South Africa protesting against the use of Afrikaans as a medium of instruction in black schools. She attended school at Fezeka High. At the age of 22, she had extraordinary tactical political skills and became what she would remain all her life, a determined and committed public leader whose vision and ideals were to fight for the rights of women who were ostracized and shackled to grim conditions of poverty, underdevelopment, and gender discrimination in South Africa. Chairperson, she went on to become a teacher at Siyazingiza Primary School in 1983 until 1997, teaching English, geography, history, and isiXhosa. Instead of joining her peers to enjoy an easy, youthful township life, Comrade Ntwanambi, during the week she would juggle her schedule between being a teacher and the home chores to attend secret meetings of like-minded women from Gugulethu who went on to serve in various structures of the ANC. On weekends, she would attend, this I can say now that we are free, she would attend secret meetings of the African National Congress and was later incarcerated in the notorious Paulsmoor prison in Cape Town. In 1983, she joined the women activists that formed the United Women's Organization. And then in 1985, she was one of the pioneers of the Democratic Teachers Union, DTU, which later merged with other teachers' unions to form the South African Democratic Teachers Union as we know it today, SADU. Chairperson, she was a political activist whose unparalleled dedication to the struggle against apartheid and the gender stereotyping of women saw her rise from the dusty streets of Gugulethu to serving in various leadership structures of the political formation that pioneered the demise of the apartheid regime in 1994. She also served in various positions in the ANC and the ANC Women's League, as my predecessor on this podium had just said, and joined the most powerful women in the corridors of power, that is our parliament. Chairperson, her continued selfless political commitment and a politically fired up gender and human rights activist in the ANC resulted in her election to serve in the National Executive Committee, the NEC, and the National Working Committee, NWC, of the ANC Women's League. In 2003, she was elected convener on the Women's League NEC deployees in the Western Cape province. She also served in the Provincial Executive Committee, the PEC, and the Provincial Working Committee of the ANC in the Western Cape. Chairperson, Comrade Ntwanambi joined the NCOP in 1999 and was elected chairperson of the Select Committee on Economic and Foreign Affairs in 2004. In 2005, she was elected chairperson of the Parliamentary Women's Caucus and has served in various international structures, such as the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, CPA, and the South African Development Community Parliamentary Forum, that is the SADC body. She was also elected to the NEC of the ANC at its watershed December 2007 national conference that was held in Polokwane, my province. Chairperson, in 2008, she was elected the deputy president of the ANC Women's League. It's also in the same year that she became the first woman to be elected the chief whip of the National Council of Provinces, which replaced the former Senate and upper house of Parliament. This has been hailed by several gender activists, chairperson, an organization as I quote, a major milestone in the representation of women in key decision-making structures in Parliament, close quote. Chairperson, the death of Comrade Honourable Ntwanambi has robbed South Africa and the ANC of one of the most outstanding and humble servants. She truly ran the race and fought the fight and became the victor. All that awaits her is the crown from the likes of Betha Nonkumbi Qowa, Aida Mtwana, Lillian Ngoyi, Dorothy Nyembe, Helen Joseph, and Charlotte Mackley. Chair, Honourable Ntwanambi lives behind her lovely mother. She's there in the gallery. Two daughters, Nolita and Nyameka, 2 sisters, a brother, 2 grandchildren, Nhlumelo and Elami. Chair, we would like to say to the Honourable Ntwanambi's family, we share your grief and you are in your prayers in this difficult time. We also would like to thank you for sharing Honourable Ntwanambi with the African National Congress, the people of South Africa, and all the sacrifices that you have endured when she was saving our nation. We thank you dearly. May her soul rest in peace. Amandla.
Thank you very much, Chief Whip. Honorable members, that concludes the oration of condolences. May we stand up for a moment of silence. May her soul rest in peace. You may be seated. Thank you very much, honorable members. I will then take the opportunity to call on the secretary to read the first order of the day, as we thank the family for having been with us during this period of the oration of our condolences. Strength to you. We are with you as this House. Secretary.
Policy debate on budget vote number 4, Home Affairs Appropriation Bill B4 2014.
Thank you very much, honorable members. May I take the opportunity to call on the brand new Nganyes to introduce the debate.
I'm already challenged in terms of complexion. I can't.
Take another challenge.
Honorable brand new Deputy Chair of the NCOP, Deputy Minister, honorable members, distinguished guests, we are honored to present our budget vote for 2014-2015. The Department of Home Affairs is set, the budget of the Department of Home Affairs is set at 6.6 billion rand, in terms of which the departmental programs receive 4.9 billion rand. The Film and Publications Board will receive 79 million rand. The Independent Electoral Commission will receive 1.6 billion rand, and the Government Printing Works is now fully self-funding. In this regard, I've delegated to the Deputy Minister the responsibility for front office improvement, asylum seeker management, and legal services. Chairperson, Home Affairs carries the responsibility of ensuring that all South Africans have an identity status and to maintain a credible and secure national population register. One of our top priorities is to clean up the national population register through the ongoing National Population Registration Campaign, a key target of which has been to persuade all parents to register their children within 30 days of birth. In this regard, I intend ending the late registration of birth process by 31 December 2015, after which all applications for late registration of birth would go through an appeal and adjudication process. Timely registration of birth must and will soon be the only way into the National Population Register. This calls for a national effort involving all who are keen to ensure we have a clean NPR to get involved as we enter the final mopping up stages of the LRP campaign. In this regard, the 264 stakeholder forums that have been formed will play an important coordinating role. One of the most tangible elements of our efforts to build a national identity system is the Smart ID card, which we began rolling out in October 2013 in 70 designated Smart ID card offices countrywide. Thus far, over 300,000 cards have been issued, and an additional 70 offices will have Smart ID card application capability by the end of this financial year to support our rollout target of 1.5 million cards. 30 of the 70 offices will be ready for smart ID card issue within 100 days. We are investigating ways to leverage partnerships with the post office and the banks in the smart card rollout, the details of which will be announced when they are ready. Currently, people aged 60 and above, as well as 16-year-olds, are the only group invited to replace their ID books with smart ID cards free of charge. When we reach the target of 140 smart ID card offices, we will then completely stop issuing green ID documents to 16-year-olds. At the Asian, Middle East and African Security Printing Conference in 2013, the South African Smart ID card was awarded the Regional ID Document of the Year Award. Chairperson, we must manage immigration securely and effectively in a way which benefits our economy and society, hits our international obligations and manages risks to national security. Cabinet has assigned the department lead responsibility to establish the Border Management Agency, which will be central to securing all land, air and maritime ports of entry to address the threats posed to, as well as the porousness of our borderline. We are currently undertaking a feasibility study to determine all the practicalities of a future BMA, the findings and proposals of which will guide our legislative process. All relevant government departments are being engaged in an intergovernmental consultative process through a project management office which we have established. By the end of 2016, we hope to have completed the process to establish the BMA. We have upgraded infrastructure at 11 high-volume points of entry and expanded the enhanced movement control system to 13 additional points of entry. During the previous year, we facilitated the movement of 39 million travelers in and out of the Republic, demonstrating that our ability to manage the inflow and outflow of people in our country is becoming increasingly efficient and robust. In this regard, we draw attention to the new immigration regulations, which took effect on May 26, 2014, following amendments to the immigration legislation, which had grown outdated in the context of new complex challenges, as well as facilitating the streamlining of our permitting regime, improving the administration of our visa issuance, and regulating human movement into and out of South Africa. The new regulations enhance security by addressing areas of weakness, risk, and abuse. Opportunistically, South Africa is being asked to drop or relax visa requirements in a world where they are required of South Africans when traveling abroad and where security has become a matter of global concern. We reject with contempt any suggestion that these regulations are part of an Afrophobic agenda to keep Africans or any nationality for that matter out of South Africa. Our commitment to African unity and development is resolute, and our track record in this regard speaks for itself. We value the contribution of fellow Africans from across the continent living in South Africa, and that is why we have continued to support the AU and SADC initiatives to free human movement. But this cannot happen haphazardly, unilaterally, or to the exclusion of security concerns, and neither can it happen without standardizing population registration and immigration legislation and addressing development challenges everywhere. Risks to any country on our continent have a direct impact on our own country. After all, we have not unilaterally removed existing visa waiver agreements we have with fellow African countries and are keen to enter into more such agreements as more African countries conduct civil registration of their nationals. At this point, I wish to announce that we are in the final stages of deliberations about the Zimbabwean special dispensation, which will expire in December this year. Future policy development will focus, among other issues, on a framework for the better to deal with economic migration and to find a solution on how best to separate asylum seekers and refugees from economic migrants. In this regard, work is underway to introduce a nationwide discussion on a new international migration policy framework that shall take into consideration current realities and future management perspectives. Chairperson, The Department of Home Affairs contributes to economic development in several ways, and our contribution as an enabler of tourism is irrefutable. Our identity documents help create the platform of trust and accountability, which underpins our competitive and sophisticated financial system. Our ability efficiently to facilitate large numbers of international visitors across ports of entry has enabled our positioning as a trusted host for major international events. Our staff have done well to eliminate visa and permit backlogs and proactively assist businesses with immigration issues. Our immigration management enables us to bring in workers and investors who contribute to economic growth. The new immigration regulations will make it easy to source critical skills from overseas. Foreign nationals possessing critical skills can now apply for and be granted a critical skills visa, even without a job, allowing them to enter the country and seek work for a period of up to 12 months. Furthermore, families of workers will now be considered as a unit. These specific improvements and our commitment to responsiveness to business needs in general will make it easier for South Africa to attract the critical skills and investment our economy needs. I am further proud to announce that all the 11 visa facilitation centers are now operational throughout South Africa, and results have begun to show in the sense that 4,000 applications were received in June alone, and the turnaround time for adjudication has already been reduced. Chairperson, the department is making important strides in terms of our adjudication process at refugee reception offices. To this end, we will, amongst others, finalize the implementation of our policy position to relocate refugee reception centers closer to the borderlines. We will improve international cooperation, especially in the SADC region, with regard to asylum seeker and refugee management, especially the management of refugees and asylum seekers who are third country nationals, and how to implement the first safe country principle. And thirdly, we will develop an immigration policy document, as I have said, which proposes strategies regarding the management of unskilled economic migration in order to streamline the refugee process and integrate genuine refugees into our society. Chairperson, in 2009, the Department of Home Affairs initiated a pilot project aimed at revitalizing the look and feel of our front offices and make them user-friendly with clear signage to enable proper workflow and queue management. The project has been rolled out in a number of our offices in accordance with our available budget. I have delegated to the Deputy Minister the task of improving the client experience at each of our front offices as a critical area of intervention. This will entail drastically enhancing our front office operations, the leadership and managerial competencies of our managers, the professionalism of our officials, as well as establishing a performance dashboard robustly to measure and closely monitor the performance of our offices, including standardizing operating procedures between and within all of our offices. We remain committed to improve our operations to ensure that we have a safe and secure South Africa where all of our people are proud of and value their identity and citizenship. Chairperson, we have embarked on a modernization program to secure, integrate, and automate all our systems and create a paperless data environment. Key in this modernization project is the development of the National Identification System, which will replace the current National Population Register and refugee systems, and the development of an integrated border management solution, which will include the Trusted Traveller Program, the e-visa and e-permit systems, the development of a data cleanup of key immigration and civic services, as well as the development of further rollout of live capture smart ID card to the remaining identified offices. We will further design dedicated smart ID card offices in each province rather than implement the smart ID card in all offices. Chairperson, leadership development will be a consistent theme over the next term right into the future. It is critical that our staff be service-oriented, professional, competent, committed, ethical, and incorruptible. High standards and accountability are no longer negotiable at Home Affairs, and we are committed to ensuring our customers consistently experience excellent customer service. Ongoing challenges include fighting corruption and overburdened staff due to understaffing amid resource constraints. Our progress in developing a new cadre of Home Affairs officials includes the establishment of a learning academy offering our officials high-quality, accredited courses in partnership with universities. Our commitment to youth development is demonstrated through our internship and cadet programs. We have undergone a branding campaign to ensure all frontline staff wear an updated uniform and name tags to ensure they are easily identifiable, pleasant, and approachable. Chairperson, in the past 8 months, GPW has produced over 300,000 smart ID cards for the department. It has seen its revenue double since 2009 to 757 million rand, with an envisaged 2- or 3-fold increase in revenue over the next 5 years. The company is midway through a 5-year, 300 million rand capital program to install state-of-the-art technology, and the Passport Smart ID Card and Examination Papers Dispatch Center will come on stream in 2015. Over the coming few years, GPW plans to complete its transition from a government into a state-owned enterprise. By 2017, Government Printing Works will have consolidated its position as the leading security printer in Africa and one of the leaders in the field worldwide. Chairperson, in order to adapt to the growth of digital media, the Film and Publications Board is exploring online distribution agreements with major content distributors, enabling the companies to classify on its behalf in accordance with its regulatory guidelines. Furthermore, it also strategically engages internationally and within SADC on initiatives to prevent child pornography and child trafficking. Chairperson, over the next 5 years and towards Vision 2030, with your support, we can do even more to establish and maintain a secure national identity system and facilitate the secure, efficient movement of people. I would like to close my remarks by requesting all South Africans to also carry out the responsibilities that come with the rights we have outlined above. Firstly, to prize South African citizenship and not contribute wittingly or unwittingly towards extending citizenship to people who do not deserve it. Secondly, to register the birth of their children before they leave hospital or within 30 days of the birth of the children in order to help us secure the National Population Register. Thirdly, to apply for the identity documents at 16 years of age in order to enhance their ability to access government services. Fourthly, to safeguard their documents to help combat identity theft and fraud. Many of these documents end up lying uncollected for months at the offices of the department, which makes us vulnerable to identity theft as well as fraud. And finally, we urge them to register death immediately in order to prevent theft of the deceased's identity. In closing, I wish to thank the Deputy Minister, the DG and the top management and all hard-working staff of the Department of Home Affairs for their devotion and hard work. I am grateful for the advice of the Chairperson of the Select Committee and members of the committee who provide critical oversight over the work of the department. I hope all members will support our budget for the 2014-2015 financial year. It is my privilege, Honourable Chairperson, to table budget vote number 4 of the Department of Home Affairs before this House for its discussion and adoption. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honourable Minister Kigaba. May I therefore call on Honourable Dlamini to continue the debate?
Honorable Deputy Chairperson, thank you very much for the opportunity. My greetings to the Honorable Minister and the Deputy Minister, the House Chairpersons, Honorable Chief Whip in the House, Honorable members,
I'm not sure whether the DG is here, but also if he's here, the DG and the team. My greetings. It's very difficult to speak after you, Honourable Minister. But with the responsibility that we have as Select Committee, we do have to present our findings as part of the oversight as mandated by this House. I must say that before I continue with my debate, I want to thank the department very much for the total turnaround of the department. Those who were there with me during the apartheid regime, they will agree with me. There is a total turnaround of the department. During our times, when you go and take your ID, bekukuthatha almost 6 months ukuthi uthole ubhukwana wakho. I remember mine, it took 6 months. At some stage, I thought my ID was not approved. When I received it, the date of my birth was incorrect. And I was, in my ID, I'm labeled as Tsonga, not a Swati. Yeah. So that is why I'm saying, in terms of the change of a department, the turnaround, it is important to recognize the changes that has been made in the department, but bearing in mind that this is not just by mere luck, it is the visionary direction that is given by the ruling party, the ANC. We have to thank the ANC very much for giving this direction. In the State of the Nation address by the Honourable President Jacob Zuma, using the monitoring outlook or report, he indicated that from the government, we are continuously improving the services that we provide to the communities. This is a witness by this department, as indicated that umehluko ukhona kakhulu uma ukompare na before during the apartheid regime. It is important to also to indicate that those who were there during the apartheid regime could not be found. Most of the time, all of us, when we stand up, sikhuluma apartheid that was so bad. Apartheid regime has become faceless. Akekho ivumayo ngendlela beyimbi ngakhona. Sonke criticize, claim glory from what this current government is doing. But I must say that in our interaction with the department, Honourable Minister, based on the 4 strategic objectives that you have identified yourself, which the first one is to clean and secure the National Population Register, to digitize the Department of Home Affairs data and records. The third one, to manage migration and immigration competently. And the fourth one, to improve the services of Department of Home Affairs that you provide to the people, by providing professional officials. And the last one is in doing the oversight of the department. We've realized that you have been able to meet most of your objectives. At the ANC policy and the 53rd National Conference, the ANC committed itself to positioning of the Home Affairs to be the backbone of security, service delivery, and the developmental state. Under the apartheid regime, the main objective of this department was to sideline or discriminate black people, which is a different case as I speak now. Home Affairs has been informed in such a way that it provides our people with identity and freedom of movement, amongst other justices of our country. With utmost pride and humility, the department has transformed. Today, South Africa has a Home Affairs department that plays a decisive role in providing them with pertinent documents to access their basic rights. There has been progress to ensure that the Department of Home Affairs is the backbone of the developmental state, that we seek to build our nation, that we envisage as a country. Progress has been made to ensure that this department remains central to national efforts to strengthen national security, provide our people with the services that South African Constitution entitles them to have. It is also important to note that the ruling party has committed itself to the creation of the National Identity Database that enables government to achieve the goals of the society we envisage. In the ANC Ready to Govern document, the ANC said a comprehensive, accurate, and secure population register has to be built that will enable government to have an accurate picture of a national profile. The Minister has just reported now how far they have gone. We are witness to that, Honourable Minister, after we have gone through your document and seeing how far you have gone in terms of doing this. In this regard, the department has moved with speed to put all systems to ensure that births and deaths are registered. The campaign of the registration of birth has ensured that the registration of births become part of the national consciousness and civil responsibility of South Africa. We do want to encourage our population or our people to go and register their children as they are born. We also want to encourage, Honourable Minister, that there must be a cooperation between yourselves and the Department of Health to make it compulsory that before a child leaves the hospital or a health institution, the child must have a birth certificate. But also we are requesting the department to consider having extending working hours over the holidays and after hours or Sundays and Saturdays. Because I just remember one incident where with the former minister we visited a hospital in Ferreira. It was over the holidays. There were no officials from the department, so we're encouraging the department to consider extending hours so that by the time when children are born, by the time they leave hospital, they are registered. The Department of Home Affairs plays a central role in regulating and facilitating immigration and to enforce Immigration Act. This is so because migration impacts strongly on our economy, our culture, social and development. It's not that, as the minister was saying, we do not want people from outside to come in the country, but what we are saying, it is important that as a country, we know who is in the country and who is not in the country. It does not only impact on those issues mentioned before, but also on the developmental issues. If you take areas around the borders where people are coming in numbers, it impacts them directly in terms of service delivery. Because local municipalities, they plan according to the population that they have, but only to find that there are a number of people that are unaccounted for who are residing in their areas. In the eyes of the people, it is seen as if we are not providing services accordingly, but it's because of those people who are not accounted for. But we also wanted to commend the Department of Home Affairs with the entities that is responsible for, in particular the IEC. I think we all agree that since 1994, IEC has done an outstanding work in terms of performing the elections. Just in one day, the IEC is able to manage millions of people through the election processes, and at no stage where the results were not accepted. In all the elections, results were accepted by all parties. The performance of the three entities under department is encouraging. Specific mention is made of the work of the Independent Electoral Commission that has attracted both regional and international recognition in the form of awards received by the AEC. Amongst these being the United Nations Public Service Awards in the category of preventing and combating corruption in the public service. We are very much grateful.
Honourable Member, can you sum up because you're running out of time, or you have run out of time?
We are very much grateful for the work that has been done by those entities under the Department of Home Affairs. We also want to encourage or check with the department on the issues that were raised by the regional directors when they had a meeting with the Select Committee during the fourth Parliament. We want to request the department to go through those issues because they are very much important and they are impacting on the performance of the regional offices.
Honourable Member,
And-
now you have really run out of time.
Thank you.
Okay. Honourable Zwane. Honourable Zwane, may you continue the debate?
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chairperson, the Honourable Minister and the Deputy, and Honourable Members and the Chief Whip. Let me take this opportunity to thank you, Deputy Chairperson, for affording me this opportunity to be part of this very important debate, the debate of the budget of Home Affairs Department. 7 years after the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was adopted by the General Assembly of the United Nations in 1948, the people of South Africa, under the leadership of the ANC, adopted the Freedom Charter, which served as the founding principle and basis for the struggle for freedom. The masses of the people stood together and they said, all shall be free to travel without a restriction, from countryside to town, from province to province, and from South Africa to abroad. Indeed, 20 years ago, South Africa witnessed a radical change in the government, since it then became the government of the people by the people. And the ANC-led government has since been able to crash the apartheid Titanic that was used by the oppressors to put us where we were then. The Constitution, which is the supreme law of South Africa, Section 312, states that there is common South African citizenship, and as such, all citizens are equally entitled to rights, privileges, and benefits. The ANC-led government has wrecked apartheid and racial segregation, and never again shall we see the Department of Native Affairs. Chairperson, Honourable Minister and Deputy, it is from this constitutional imperative and background that the Department of Home Affairs was established to carry the vision of ensuring, as the Minister has said, safe, secure South Africa, where all of its people are proud and value their identity and citizenship. Through its programs, the department has provided secure, efficient, and accessible services and documents for citizens and lawful residents. The core mandate of the department, therefore,
is to register, affirm the identity and status of citizens and regulate immigration efficiently and securely, as the Minister has said. And we are proud to say that the ANC-led government has actually been able to fulfill this mandate. This is odd. There is order in South Africa. People do not enter and leave the country as and when they wish, because the ANC-led government is running a country and not a banana republic. In the 53rd National Conference in Mangaung, the ruling party noted that the presence of undocumented migrants in the republic poses both an economic and security threat to the country. In relation to this issue, the movement further noted that there are challenges relating to legislation regulating access to citizenship by foreign nationals. A number of resolutions to address this gap in the system were made. Among the key resolutions made were that legislation should be introduced to criminalize the fraudulent acquisition of vital documents, such as the ID documents, and to provide for such crimes to be treated as serious offenses. As there is a need for a single national identity system which will contain a profile of all South Africans and documented foreign nationals who comply with the laws. The constitution of the country says that South Africa belongs to everybody who live in it, but it actually refers to those that live within it legally. Responsive to the resolutions of the ruling party in August 2013, Angolans, about 2,239 Angolans, were provided with documents that either made them to remain within the country or enabled them to return to their own country, Angola. This was meant to insert control measures in respect of who qualifies to remain within the country and who is supposed to leave the country. We shall remember that out of the many government outcomes, only 3 are directly relevant to Home Affairs. It's outcome 3 that ensures that all people of South Africa should feel safe. Outcome 5, which ensures that the country should retain skilled and capable workforce, and outcome 12 that ensures that we do retain, and outcome 12 that we do have an efficient and developed public workforce. The department has also established a very close working relationship with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. This working relationship assists the department to deal with refugees efficiently. These are surely some of the good stories that we need to tell the people, that we run a government that is in control and that is able to keep all the measures in place to ensure that our country is safe and secure. Chairperson, the 2014-15 annual performance plan of the department has set out 4 major strategic goals which are responsive to the demands and challenges within the sector. As the Minister has alluded earlier on, the first goal is to keep a clean and secure national population register. And as we heard, the Minister said that the business of actually prolonging the issue of registering children for birth until it is too late is going to come to a stop. So we've got a duty as community leaders to ensure that we educate our communities about this so that everybody knows where and when to register children. Another objective is to improve the services the department provides by building a collective of officials that are highly trained and who know which direction to steer the ship. These goals will drive the department and will thus enable the department to achieve its core mandate effectively. An approach where departments come together as clusters or as sister departments will also help a great deal in doing much more with the meager resources that we have. For instance, we know that when a child is born, it is within the Department of Health, but within the Department of Health, there has to be officials of the Department of Home Affairs that register birth. But also important is the Department of Basic Education, because as the minister was saying that people should be made aware of the fact that the registration of births should take place from when the child is born up to at least 30 days, the latest. Such messages could actually be conveyed through the Department of Basic Education. If you want to announce something or you want to relay a message to the broader public, ayikho into effective ngokusebenzisa umnyango waka education unikeza ingane zesikole incwadi zokuthi zihambe zonika abazali. In that way you are reaching out to a very broad spectrum of members or citizens, and the method is very, very cost effective. So the Department of Basic Education can also assist also in that regard. The department is working tirelessly and vigorously to ensuring that the above issues are done in a way that is integrated. The achievement of the department in the previous years sent a very clear message that the department is committed to an outstanding service delivery. There are remarkable milestones to attest to this effect. There has been a very big turnaround from what the department used to be to where the department is today. And we cannot keep quiet about it. As ANC-led government, it is indeed a very good story to tell. This far, the department has shown positive moves and is continuously achieving its strategic objective of ensuring that all citizens are issued with the relevant documentation. Home Affairs gives us identity as we enter planet Earth. And it is actually surprising, we are in millions, but in very, very few cases, if any, do we get errors that used to occur in the previous regime, as the previous speaker has alluded to. So we want to applaud the department for the good work that they're doing. And we also do want to say that we are really impressed with the visibility of this department to communities. Services are taken to the people. Offices are opened in deep rural areas. Mobile services are taken to rural areas. Each time there's a government function, Home Affairs is there to render services. Honourable Minister, we do want to say thank you. Your department is hard-working. It is a department at work, and we claim no easy victories, and we tell no lies, because people are looking for service delivery. And if we do that, they are going to yet renew the mandate of the ruling party to govern for the next 5 years after this one. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. May I therefore call on Honourable Mpambo Sibukwana.
Honourable Chairperson, Honourable Minister Malusi Gigaba, Honourable Deputy Chairperson of the NCOP, Honourable members of the NCOP, ladies and gentlemen, Honourable Chairperson, my first argument, which specifically focuses on the 2014 Immigration Act, involves requirements outlined in the National Development Plan, which highlights two regulations that could have a not so desirable impact on our country's economy. These regulations include the new requirement for unabridged birth certificates for minors, as well as the provision of in-person collection of biometric processed visas.
Although these regulations have been put in place to place and protect fellow South Africans on the borders, as well as to address human trafficking issues, the regulations create somewhat of a hurdle for prospective tourists who want to enter the country and obtain their visas. Furthermore, the provision of this documentation by the Department of Home Affairs takes far too long due to the outdated processes and incompetent staff. Honourable Chairperson, the hasty implementation of the new visa regulation also have far-reaching effects of South Africa's citizens with foreign spouses. The new regulations have resulted in families being separated and stranded in various parts of the globe because husbands and wives married to our citizens were labeled as undesirable and could not return to the country they have been living in for a decade. Certain cases were taken to the Western Cape High Court and ruled in favor of the affected person, which is further proof of the new regulations' unlawful and undignified effects. How can we afford, Chairperson, the dignity and peace of mind to South Africans when you introduce a set of rules which suddenly compromises their interaction with their loved ones? Honourable Chairperson, I wish to draw to the attention of this House that further proof of the tremendous failure that is the new immigration regulation is the lack, Minister, to conduct the regulatory impact assessment, Minister, which could have brought to light these problems surrounding their implementation. The regulatory impact assessment serves to analyze the regulations before they are enforced on communities in order to identify issues and ensure more efficient government. Honourable Minister, it would have been wise of you to conduct this analysis regarding the immigration regulations. This failure to do so shows complete disregard to proper governance and the rights of citizens. The National Development Plan says by the year 2020, our tourism sector would have created 225,000 new jobs, which we anchor, as well as created an indirect contribution of 499 billion in gross domestic product. We as the DA would like to question how these promises can be fulfilled if these regulations limit the amount of tourists who will be entering the country. These regulations can be seen as having a detrimental effect to our growing economy as they are barriers to entry. How are we going to boost the economic growth in South Africa if ministers seem to bend on stifling tourism? Countries around the world are relaxing the visa regulations simply because they want to stimulate foreign investment from visitors, yet we seem to be killing it in South Africa. Honourable Chairperson, I wish to draw to your attention that while the security of citizens of South Africa is important, we cannot completely dissuade foreigners from coming into this country. The new regulations show that we are shooting ourselves in the foot. As for our fellow African neighbors who have come to South Africa for a better life and who contribute to our economy, Minister, who with highly skilled labor, their status as residents has been completely overturned already by the new regulations. How are hundreds of thousands of immigrants already legally working in the country supposed to renew work permits within stricter requirements overnight and all at the same time? Again, the use of regulatory impact assessment would have prevented this atrocity and crisis from happening. We as the DA, honorable members, are requesting a strategy from you, Minister, to be implemented so that we will ensure that you, Minister of Home Affairs, you are progressing in the right direction as far as human trafficking is concerned. But also to ensure that these regulations do not have a negative impact on job creation, whilst ensuring that South Africa is a country that people can visit. At this point, honorable members, Minister Gigaba doesn't seem to be able to prioritize these issues, and the new regulations have caused great confusion as opposed to more clarity and ease surrounding immigration. I want to draw to the attention of this House that the House must note that the Film and Publication Board, where we as the DA would like to suggest that a plan be devised to create a solid branding, Minister, and public awareness campaigns in order to ensure that citizens understand their role and the kind of program the organization has to offer. Honorable Chairperson, we as the DA do, however, compliment and support the efficiency brought by the government printing works in securing printed matters such as passports, identity documents with the recent voting and related publishing. The DA also welcomes a move by the Home Affairs to acknowledging the disability sector in its mandate, as we are signatories to the UN Convention on the Rights of People with Disability, by accommodating the disability sector across the board in the newly prospects and proposed smart cards. However, we are concerned as the DA and would like to know how the Department of Home Affairs will assist, Minister, the underprivileged who find themselves financially incapable of paying exorbitant amounts of fees to allow for change from the identity documents to smart cards. Many impoverished communities and citizens who will also require the new smart card will not be able to afford expensive fees imposed for the acquisition of these cards, yet this is a right. These new smart cards, Minister and Deputy Chairperson, bring a sense of belonging to fellow South Africans and our citizens. Would also like to stress the importance of communicating the change to all South Africans within the prescribed time period. The introduction of ID smart cards should be promoted around the country in an effort to get the citizens to adopt the new system and create further identity security. Many South Africans are not even aware they can obtain new cards, never mind the reasoning behind the change. Honorable Chairperson, with regards to the IEC, whilst I compliment the work done on the recent elections, there's an immense amount of concern with the continued negative publicity on the tender debacle. On the IEC advocate Pensi Kakula, we as the DA want justice to prevail with utmost transparency. Also would like to bring to this House the job specification on this issue necessary in order to alleviate the confusion between party affiliation and work responsibilities. As we've seen in the past, these issues, Chairperson, have led to the derailing of the democracy which we are all entitled to. To conclude, Chairperson, I would like to say, as this speech has reflected our support to the National Development Plan, as the Democratic Alliance, we are in grave concern of how the rights of South Africans cannot be compromised by contradicting the National Development Plan goals with the departmental regulations, which are not thoroughly thought of. And I want to say, despite the good work that's been done, we are in grave concern. And in order to institute legal and human rights as per Constitution, we should do and prevail with justice whenever. Ndithi kuni mawethu, ninendlebe nje, ninetyala. Ndiyabulela ngokubani ndimamele. Ndiyanibulela enkosi. Unendlebe nje unetyala uvile.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. May I therefore call on Honourable Matevas from the Economic...
Met alle respect gezette man, tijd om nog te kunnen groeten. A special salute to the Commander-in-Chief of the EFF.
Honourable Member, order. In your salutation, it would be good that reference is made to the acknowledgement of members of this House, and not make reference of members of another House, and therefore may you withdraw that salutation.
Ik kom van een plek hier aan de noordkant.
Honourable Member, order.
I withdraw.
Order, ik kan ook Afrikaans praten. Ik kan om te zeggen, je moet het terugtrekken.
I withdraw. I withdraw.
Thank you very much.
Kom op uit de plek hier, Noordkap.
Is there a point of order, Honourable Seko?
Thank you, Chair. I'm not, thank you. I just want also to place on record that a chief of staff in the House, there's only one chief of staff, commander-in-chief, is the president of the country to his army or soldiers. Now, if you refer to a commander-in-chief in the House, there's no such language.
Let's take it that he has withdrawn it.
Oh.
Yes, thank you.
After 20 years of democracy, our ports of entry are as good as freeway as foreigners enter the country illegally on a daily basis. This is due to lack of proper immigration service legislation. We need to strengthen immigration rules and regulations so that we can adequately control our borders and keep our citizens as well as those who have papers safe in our country. We need accurate stats from the department to how many illegal foreigners, especially white foreigners, in our country. Without this information, we will never sort out the traffic of illegal immigration. The department needs to clamp down the corruption from its own ranks. The officials are in collaboration with criminals for issuing fake ID documents. One solution to Home Affairs challenge is for them to have a special intelligence unit focusing on immigrants only. In as much as we welcome measures that take efforts to control the influx of immigrants, we take this opportunity to strongly advise against too little, too late. Time is for the incense delivery on your proposal. Change is utmost important. South Africa remains and will always be a country of great attraction to people not only from sub-Saharan Africa but from all over the world. In this is the light that we in the economic freedom fighters see the role of our country in the global space as one of leadership to deliver on basic fundamental rights of people, marginalized politically, socially, and economically. Honourable Chairperson, thus in the regard, we need to start at home. I thank you.
No, thank you very much, honorable member. Order, honorable members. May I call on order, honorable members. Honorable Kaula, can you continue the debate?
Honorable Chairperson, Deputy Chairperson, Honorable Minister, my brother and colleague, a brother with whom I've come a very long way, the Honorable Deputy Minister. The importance of the Department of Home Affairs in the country's provision of social services to the citizens cannot be overemphasized. The authenticity of the data provided by Home Affairs enables the country to be efficient in social spending like education, social grants, job creation, and provisioning of jobs and other areas. But, Honourable Minister, the opposite is also true. We welcome the improvements effected in the department in respect of the provision of documents within a timely manner. We also welcome the facelift of certain offices in order to improve the image. The department has stated that the Deputy Minister will be allocated the responsibility of ensuring that there is improvement in the department's front desk to ensure compliance with the Batupele principles. This is appreciated. However, certain areas still remain a cause for concern. The weakness in the proper regulation of the inward movement of people has impacted negatively, especially on the social spending of border provinces like KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, Free State, and maybe other provinces. Sometimes people are able to illegally acquire South African identity documents. This results in the affected provinces not being able to plan accordingly for social grants. It is important that scarce resources of the country are used to benefit the relevant citizens of the country and the relevant deserving legal foreign nationals. This does not only affect the outside boundaries of our country, but also the inside boundaries between provinces. The department has repeatedly received qualified audit reports from the Auditor General. This is against the government's Operation Clean Audits by 2014. And it is already 2014. Your HR report reflects that out of a total headcount of 9,664 personnel in 2013-14, only 35 job evaluations were done. This is not a good picture at all. Your vacancy rate stands at 6.6%, and that is commendable compared to 15.1% in 2011-12 and 10.3% in 2012-13. However, what is not good is that some provincial manager positions remain vacant, and these are critical positions. The department has set up an objective of ensuring that registration at birth is the only entry point for South African citizens to the new national identity system. But the usability of facilities provided by Home Affairs in hospitals is unsatisfactorily low. This calls for strong collaboration efforts between the two departments of Health and Home Affairs with other stakeholders indeed for this to be realized. One notes that the department has to operate against the background of a budget decrease of about 362 million, which represents a 6% decrease. We hope the department will be able to effectively maneuver against this tide. Also, from your remarks, Honourable Minister, you have touched on the Clean-up National Population Register, which we welcome. You have also touched on managing immigration efficiently. As the IFP, what we want to warn about, colleagues, is that we dare not, as South Africans, let the issues of immigration degenerate into childhood play. As a country, we have to balance between the need to bring in scarce skills and also the need to protect our borders and our citizens.
Honourable
want to
Member,
refer
can you
you-
sum up?
Thank you. I want to refer you, Honourable Minister, to the 2003 saga, which you'll recall it was about these issues. And lastly, we also do want to say it is important to protect our women folk who at times get registered as married without their knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. May I therefore call on Honourable Mampuru to continue the debate?
Motlatsa modulasetulo, tumelele, ke tše ditaba tše nke ke di lebantšhe kua go ministera wa ka. A re go lebe go ministera ga mmogo le deputy minister. Re go phaphata matsogo, re go phaphata magetla, re ya go leboga. Re gola o ka ke tlou, tšhukudu go wena ebe mošimane. Swara o tiiše, o gate senna. Gape ditaba tše o di antše letsweleng la your forebearers, bo the late Ntate Nelson Rolihlahla Madiba Mandela, bo Oliver Tambo, bo Walter Sisulu. Re ka ba tlogela jwang batswadi ba gago, bo mme Albertina le bo mme Adelaide Tambo, bo Ruth First le ba bangwe. Motlatsa modulasetulo o dire e palela ke go tswala e re mokaka ko monyane ka 1956 mme Lilian Ngoyi o ile a tšea basadi a ba le Matcha Union Building ka gore she was done and enough with the tompas of the former apartheid regime. At the end she said, referring to the then president uJJ Strodom, at wathinta abafazi wathinta imbokodo uzakufa wena. Honourable Mpampo Shibugwana, on visas, Shibugwana, I must say, according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization, the countries with the highest tourism numbers is France and USA, which have one of the most difficult visa application processes. This clearly demonstrates that visas have no bearing on tourism figures. Motlatsa modulasetulo, debate here is based on birth and death registrations since 1994. Honourable Chairperson, legatong la Afrika Borwa, Limpopo Province, ka matlafalo, ke rata go dumedisha le batlhompegi ka moka letšatšing la legono. Motho ke motho ka batho, mopedi o re feta kgomo sware motho wa moriri wa hlokwa. With the emergence of democracy in the early 1990s, governance and public services, including civil registrations, underwent major transformation through changing legislation, policy and practice. Three key events played a major role to facilitate improvements in coverage and content of civil registration. One, the passing of the Birth and Death Registration Act of 1992, abolishing differential vital registration based on race and rural residents. Two, the adoption of the interim constitution of South Africa in 1993, consolidating the geographically segmented country into one geopolitical unit which enabled the centralization of the civil registration and vital statistics system, later confirmed in the final constitution of 1996. And three, a collaboration among strategic role players, i.e. the Department of Health, Department of Home Affairs and Statistics South Africa, as well as researchers focusing on enhancing the vital statistics system. Mohlomphego modulasetulo ke go ana ge ba re a re ditlogoleng di go le mmogo re tla di bona mohla wa kotulu aowa. Se re swanetše go se tseba ke gore popotela e sa kweng e wetse le retheng la mokgwelere. The Birth and Death Registration Act of 1992 replaced the provision of the 1963 Birth, Marriages and Death Registration Act and its various amendments. The Act provides the basis for the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child and the African Charter on the Rights of Welfare of the Child, which protect the rights of all children to be registered immediately after birth, to be given a name and to acquire a nationality. The Constitution of the Republic of South
Africa also provides that every child has a right to a name and nationality from birth. The right is not restricted to South African citizens, but must be able to be enjoyed by all children in South Africa, irrespective of their parents' nationality and legal status in South Africa. In South Africa, as in other countries, the key process to the realization of the rights to a name and nationality is the registration of the birth of a baby and the issuing of identification documents when the child reaches the age of 16. When the birth of a South African is registered, that child's name and birth date is linked to an identity number and a record is created on the National Population Register. This gives the child the identity of a South African citizen with all the constitutional rights and obligations that go with that status. Linked to this is the issuing of identity documents, marriage certificate, and death certificates for the caregivers of children. All of these documents are necessary for the registration of the birth of a child. In turn, an accurate national population register is essential to prevent abuse of false identification and related fraudulent and corrupt activities. Ka ngwaga wa 1955 Freedom Charter ile ya amogela go ba motheo wa go tšwetša pele setšhaba sa Afrika Borwa, Afrika ka bophara le lefatshe ka moka. Progress made on birth and death registration since 1994. In an effort to continue and improve service delivery on the one hand and security on the other, the Department of Home Affairs has engaged with Parliament on a number of occasions since 1992 in order to amend the Birth and Death Registration Act. These include amendments to the Act in 1996, 1997, 1998, 2002, and most recently in 2010. Improvement to services relating to birth and death registration have been achieved in practice through activities such as implementing a departmental footprint strategy in relation to opening new Home Affairs offices, establishing online birth registration at many new health facilities, mobile office deployment in rural areas, and managing the Department First Customer Service Center. In addition, Department of Home Affairs has also increased its presence in Tucson shared services centers and development centers, as well as four-wheel drive vans to reach remote and difficult to reach areas. As a result, since 1994, the Department of Home Affairs, its footprint has more than doubled, and the budget and human resources have increased by more than 300%. The majority of South Africans have birth certificates, and a great majority of those of 16 years or older have been issued with ID documents. This has gone a long way to restoring their dignity, citizenship, and rights that the great majority of South Africans were denied. Registration of birth is about more than simply giving a child a name and identity number. It provides statistics that government need to plan.
Just hold on, Honourable Member. Is that a point of order? Can the issue of the translation please be sorted out? All right. Thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. Honourable Member, you may proceed.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson. The number of births assists in calculating fertility and mortality rates. It also informs goals 4 and 5 of the Millennium Development Goals, which speak to decreasing child and maternal mortality. The number of births can also be used when estimating the population and the rate of population growth between censuses and for the preparation of population projections.
There's another point. What is it?
Honourable Chairperson,
may you speak to that mic? Oh, that's what yours is on now.
Honourable Chairperson, we're losing the speaker. Maybe she would like to take a glass of water.
No, that's not a point of order. That's not a. Can I make a ruling? That's not a point of order. Honourable Member, may you proceed.
You want to focus me? I don't have it. Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. The speaker. The mic is off now. What is the problem now? Sabotage. Thank you very much. In terms of improving security, the first goal is to clean and secure the National Population Register. An important initiative in this regard has been the National Population Registration Campaign initiated in April 2010. A key target of this campaign is to persuade all parents to register their children within 30 calendar days of birth. Early registration of birth is recognized globally as a means to secure a population register and thus the identities of all citizens on that register. The Department of Home Affairs has provided services for the registration of birth at the majority of health facilities, a total of 346 at the end of 2012-2013 financial year. Most of them digitally connected so that the birth can be registered online. In 1998, 78% of birth registrations were late using the broader measurement of birth not registered in the same year, e.g. a child born in 2010 is only registered in 2012. By 2012, birth not registered in the same year had decreased to 21%. In terms of the most stringent requirements to register birth, within 30 days, 602 530 births were reported as registered in the most recent 2012/13 annual report of the Department of Home Affairs. This is 45,776 more births than the target for that year. The need for identity documents and birth certificate to access social grants and to register children for school has also contributed to the decrease in the late registration of birth. However, further progress is needed since over 45% of births are still registered outside of the stricter 30 days deadline. Currently, the registration of birth is free, but the birth and death registration regulation introduced in April 2014 will include a charge for those who contravene the law and register the birth of their child after 30 calendar days. Furthermore, the introduction of 2012 of the printing of full birth certificate at no cost for the first issue was an important improvement in service delivery and security introduced. It is hoped that such initiatives will further improve the growth in current registration of birth. The accurate registration of death also service delivery has and security elements. Two World Health Organization comparative assessments rated the quality of South Africa's 1996 mortality data as low. Since then, focused initiatives were introduced by the Department of Home Affairs to improve civic registration and
In summary, Honourable Mampuru.
As it may still take a number of years before early birth registration reaches optimum levels, it is important that parents and caregivers wanting to register children after 30 years are not prevented from doing so by overly enormous requirements of proof of fees. Ba go hloka tsebe ba tsebe gore tšatši le lengwa re tlo di hloba di gaela a ke re gabotse ga re latse namane ya ye nngwa. Honourable Minister, the committee supports the budget. Dula fase mlepo tšohle di apere tshiamo. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. All the honourable members, thank you very much, Honourable Mampuru. Honourable Minister, may you conclude the debate?
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chair. And I want to thank the honourable members for the discussion. I think for a while, one wondered whether some honourable members had received a proper briefing about what the policy discussion now was about. It's the total budget vote number 4, not a discussion on the immigration legislation, but let us clarify the confusion that exists. Now, I don't seem to get how an unabridged birth certificate hampers tourism. Because if I want to visit Kenya or Tanzania, I don't know how an unabridged birth certificate or an abridged birth certificate would either hamper or enhance that, facilitate it. Because if you travel with a minor, you certainly have to apply for this document, which from the 31st of March this year is now offered on the spot by the department. The challenge, the problem is only with regard to those whose registrations of birth had not been automated, and we are working very hard to automate them so that those children too will have their unabridged birth certificates printed speedily. But the problem is not all of these things that people talk about. It is the people behind the people who are standing on this podium. Those are the people who are a problem. Those are the people who are complaining. Not the regulations. The regulations are common sense. But the problem with common sense is that it's not common. Which country allows its children to go everywhere abroad without there not being restrictions about how those children will leave their country of birth? No parent, except the most irresponsible, would stand on this podium and say to me, they don't care where their child is. You wake up in the morning, you can't see your child, you don't care, so long as you think your child is around. And you might find that your child has been abducted, left not only your home, not only the vicinity, the community, but left the country. Now, how in the name of God would anybody say, we mustn't care how our children leave the country so long as it promotes tourism? Only the most irresponsible parent would say that. To argue that these regulations were hasty is to be most disingenuous, because the legislative process that led to the regulations don't spring up from the air. There was a legislative process that started in 2007. And these regulations only were gazetted in 2014. But dishonesty dictates that you shouldn't care about those facts. You should rather concern yourself with the ones who sent you to come and speak here on their behalf, and they are not here. The new regulations were adopted after consultation with the Immigration's Advisory Board, and they do not constitute any barriers to entry anywhere. Nobody has been told you can't come to South Africa. All we have said is to say, if you visit our country and you are traveling with a child, show us the unabridged birth certificate and the passport of this child, and if it's not your child, show us an affidavit from the parents of the child authorizing you to travel with this child. What we have said is that if you are visiting our country, show us your biometrics, so that we know that the person standing in front of us is the same person who applied for the visa in their country of origin, so that we can be able to protect you while you are in South Africa. That's all we have said. Nothing complicated with this.
No tourism story.
Every country expects the same of South Africans when we travel abroad. No South African will simply rock up in the United States or in Britain and say, I'm here, don't ask me who I am, don't ask me for the visa so long as I'm here. I'm here to invest, so what is your problem? What we are asking for is that people comply with our laws and regulations as we comply with theirs. And finally, Chair, the IEC, I want to appeal to members not to cast aspersions on the IEC. It is, the matter of the IEC is sub judice, and for an honorable member to even cast aspersions on the judiciary standing on this podium, I think is grossly unfortunate. And I think it's something that we must try as much as we can to avoid. Let us leave this to the judiciary to finalize. And honorable members mustn't say to us, there's been a lot of cases challenging the immigration regulations. That's not true. Only 2 cases cannot constitute a lot. And the challenge to the regulations is about the implementation and not the regulations themselves. And that is why we are forging ahead with the implementation and addressing the challenges of the challenges arising thereof. Because the regulations are correct and they are common sense. But the problem is those who say these regulations will hamper tourism, because people have been using tourist visas to enter South Africa, and whilst in the country to change their status because they are trying to short-circuit applications for critical skills or business or work visas, to enter South Africa on lesser requirements than are required for those who honestly will apply for business or work visas. And whilst in the country, they then overstay and do all manner of things and demand that we shouldn't penalize them. All they want is to pay a fee. So when we declare them undesirable, we are standardizing the penalty for the poor African immigrant and the rich European immigrant, ensuring that so that the rich European immigrant who always abuses our law and prefers to pay a fee because they can afford, on the one hand, but on the other hand, you then have the poor African immigrant, economic migrant, who can't pay the fee because they don't have it. But to argue that all we need to do is to insist on a fee, is to give sanction to rich European immigrants to undermine our laws whilst we penalize poor African immigrants. That cannot be correct. And that is precisely the issue we are dealing with. At the heart of these immigration regulations are class and national issues. At the very heart of this debate are class and national issues. That's what we are dealing with. That is why others take everything which they hear from the bosses who sponsor them, their being here, and come present those arguments as though those arguments represent the truth. The truth hurts, but it must be said.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Order, honorable members. I've never, honorable members, order. Honorable Groenewald. Order, honorable members. Order. Honorable members. May I take this opportunity before we really close or adjourn this house? And I can see there's a lot of energy amongst members. May I thank the minister and the deputy minister, and of course make the point that it is quite interesting to observe a situation in which Honourable Nyambi.
They are telling me that I must tell you that the people that assisted them to be here are going to deal with them. So that is why they have to show that they are angry.
Okay, no, that's not a point of order. No, that's not a point of order. Are you rising on a point of order? On what point are you rising, ma'am?
On a point of order, can I ask if it's only the permission of the minister and the ANC to revert to black racism? Because by
Honourable member, let me rule you out of order. The minister has closed the debate. There was an opportunity, the debate was engaged, and the minister has closed the debate. What do you mean when you say I'm out of order? What does it mean when you say I'm out of order if I'm making a ruling on a matter? May I? Honourable members, order, please. Order. I wanted to thank the minister and the deputy minister. You know, it's quite interesting to see this kind of an attitude expressed towards the House, where you even have the deputy minister not even participating in the debate but giving support to the minister. So we wish to thank you very much. And I want also to make a few observations. Honourable members, we have undergone training and all those sorts of things. And I think from now on, we would not allow certain things to happen because we assume that members do not understand. We should by now be aware that if a speaker is on the podium, this is the line of the NCOP. You can't just be crossing all over the show here, moving up and down and, as if you are disrespecting, in actual fact, not as if you are disrespecting the speaker, So, members, from now on, it will be quite embarrassing. I nearly did it. It could have been embarrassing to call a member to order and even instruct that member to apologize to this House. It would have been quite embarrassing, but I allowed it with an understanding that I'll make this remark to say from now on, moving forward, the training is done now. If you are not sure, just refer to your documents and on what to do and what not to do. The second observation is that honourable members, as and when they leave the House, you are not bowing to me. You are bowing to the rod. As and when you get in, you are not bowing to me. It's not about me. Even if I'm looking that way and you get out of that door, you are not bowing to me. It's this rod. For so long as this rod is still here, it means that this House is in session and therefore you need to respect the session of the House. And I see members just getting out, getting in. I avoided also calling members to order because it could have been quite embarrassing. The last one. From now on, honourable members, as you craft your speeches, as you get to the podium, there is a clock there. It is really not nice to say to a member, your time is up, especially when you hear now that the member is getting into the real stuff now. And then you call a member to say that your time is up. It's not nice. So please allow that the clock must be your guide. If it is not working indicate before you even start speaking, to say my clock is not working, so that we start, we do the necessary arrangements. And then from there, that becomes the issue. Those are the observations I wanted to make. Honourable Van Lingen, I thought the debate is over.
Over, Chairperson, but I would like to add to your observations. The decorum of the House.
Honourable Van Lingen. Order. Just hold it, Honourable Van Lingen. You will have the opportunity to do that as we leave the House. Honourable members, this brings us to the end of the debate and the House is adjourned.